Microorganisms. You might have observed that if you leave a bread for more than 2 or 3 days, its surface gets covered with grayish white patches. But you might not have tried to see these patches through a magnifying glass. Try this time. What will you observe? Tiny black rounded structures which you were not able to see through your naked eyes. Similarly, if you see the pond water through microscope, you will find something moving in that. What are they? Are they living or non-living? The living organisms around us, which we normally cannot see through our naked eyes, they are called microorganisms or microbes. Microorganisms are classified into 4 major groups: bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and algae. Bacteria, some algae, and protozoa are called unicellular microorganisms. Algae and fungi are multicellular microorganisms. Viruses, though different from other microorganisms like algae and fungi, reproduce only inside the host organism, such as a plant cell, animal cell, and bacterium. Yet they are considered microorganisms. Where do microorganisms live? Microorganisms can live in all kinds of environment, from ice-cold climate to hot spring and deserts to marshy lands. Microorganisms are found in air, water, and in bodies of plants and animals. Microorganisms are friends. Microorganisms are used for various purposes, such as preparation of curd and bread, production of alcohol, production of medicine, increase of soil fertility, cleaning up of environment. Preparation of curd and bread. When bacteria, lactobacillus, is added to milk, it multiplies and promotes the formation of curd. To prepare bread or cake, yeast is added with some sugar in warm water to flour to prepare the dough of maida or atta. Why is yeast added in? Yeast is also a microorganism which reproduces rapidly and produces carbon chloride during respiration. Bubbles of gas fill the dough and increase its volume, and bread, pastries, and cake become spongy. Production of alcohol. Yeast is commonly used in the commercial production of alcohol. Wine, AC, and vinegar. Yeast is grown on natural sugars present in grains like barley, wheat, rice, crushed fruit juice. This process of conversion of sugar into alcohol is known as fermentation. Who discovered fermentation? Louis Pasteur discovered fermentation in 1857. Production of medicine. What are antibiotics? The medicines that kill or stop the growth of the disease-causing microorganisms are called antibiotics. Source of many antibiotics are microorganisms. For example, penicillin. Penicillin is made from penicillium, which is a bacteria. Streptocycline, tetracycline, and erythromycin are some other examples of antibiotics that are made from fungi and bacteria. Specific microorganisms are grown for the manufacturing of a particular antibiotic. These antibiotics should not be taken unnecessarily, as they may kill beneficial bacteria in our body. Animals are also given antibiotics to check microorganism infection. Vaccine. Microorganisms are also used in the preparation of vaccines. In childhood, all are given some infection or drop to protect themselves against several diseases. It is either dead or weakened microorganisms that are called vaccines, such as polio drops, vaccine for smallpox, vaccine for cholera, vaccine for hepatitis, and the vaccine for tuberculosis. Who discovered vaccine? Edward Jenner discovered the vaccine for smallpox in 1798. How does vaccine work? When dead or weakened microbes are introduced in a healthy body, the body fights and kills them by producing suitable antibodies. The body remembers how to fight the microbe if it enters again. When a disease-carrying microbe enters our body, the body immediately produces antibodies to fight the invader, as it remembers to fight the microbe. The antibodies remain in the body and we are protected from the disease-causing microbes. This is how a vaccine works. Increasing soil fertility. Some bacteria, such as rhizobium and blue-green algae, fix nitrogen from the atmosphere to enrich the soil with nitrogen and increase its fertility. They are called biological nitrogen fixers. Cleaning the environment. The organic wastes, such as vegetable peels, feces, and remains of plants and animals are broken into harmless and usable substances by bacteria. This has two benefits. It cleans the environment by decomposing garbage, waste, and decaying plants and dead animals. Converts waste to manure, and the nutrients released in the process can be used by plants again. Harmful microorganisms. Some microorganisms are harmful in many ways, such as microorganisms causing diseases. Microorganism causes food poisoning. Microorganism causes diseases. Microorganisms cause disease in humans, animals, and plants, and they are known as pathogens. Tuberculosis, measles, chickenpox, polio, cholera, and malaria are some diseases that are caused by microorganisms. How does pathogen enter our body? Pathogen enters our body through air, water, food, direct contact with an infected person. Microbial disease that can spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, or physical contact are called communicable disease. There are some insects and animals which act as carriers of disease-causing microbes. For example, housefly, mosquito, Anopheles mosquito that carries the parasite of malaria. Female Aedes mosquito, carrier of dengue virus. There is a list of human diseases caused by microorganisms. One should take preventive measures such as always keep food covered, avoid consuming uncovered food. Mosquitoes breed in water. Hence, one should not let water collect anywhere. Disease-causing microorganisms in animals. There are several diseases, such as anthrax, which is a dangerous disease caused by a bacterium. Foot and mouth disease of cattle is caused by a virus. Disease-causing microorganisms in plants. Several microorganisms cause diseases in plants and reduce the yield of crops. They can be controlled by the use of certain chemicals which kill the microbes. Food poisoning. Microorganisms that grow on our food sometimes produce toxic substances. It makes the food poisonous, causing serious illness and even death. So we should preserve the food to prevent it from being spoiled. Food preservation. Microorganisms spoil our food and give it a lead taste, bad smell, and a color change. Then what should we do? We must preserve the food. The chemicals are generally used to check the growth of microorganisms, and they are called preservatives. Common salt is used to check the growth and presence of microorganisms. This is used especially for meat, fish, avla, raw mangoes, and tamarind. Many fruits are preserved in the form of jam, jellies, squashes. These are all preserved by sugar. Sugar reduces the moisture content, which inhibits the growth of bacteria which spoil food. Some fruits and vegetables are preserved as pickles using oil and vinegar. Why? Because bacteria can't live in such an environment. Heat and cold environment kills or inhibits the growth of microbes. Milk is preserved by boiling, as boiling kills microorganisms. Milk is pasteurized. How? The milk is heated to about 70 degrees centigrade for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and stored. It prevents the growth of microbes. This process was discovered by Louis Pasteur, and the process is called pasteurization. Dry fruits and vegetables are sold in sealed, airtight packets to prevent the attack of microbes. Nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation is done by some microorganisms such as rhizobium nodules of leguminous plants. They can fix nitrogen from the air by converting it into nitrogenous compounds. Certain bacteria convert compounds of nitrogen present in the soil into nitrogen gas, which is released to the atmosphere. This is called the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle. Our atmosphere has 78% nitrogen gas. It is an essential constituent of all living organisms as a part of proteins, chlorophyll, nucleic acids, and vitamins. Atmospheric nitrogen cannot be taken directly by plants and animals. Atmospheric nitrogen is fixed and converted into the compounds of nitrogen by lightning or nitrogen-fixing bacteria and blue-green algae. Once nitrogen is converted into these usable compounds, it is utilized by plants from the soil through the root system. Nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant proteins and other compounds. Animals feeding on plant get these proteins and other nitrogen compounds. When plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert the nitrogenous compounds to be used by plants again. certain other bacteria convert some part of them into nitrogen gas, which goes back into the atmosphere. And the percentage of nitrogen, therefore, in the atmosphere remains more or less constant.